Okay, so we got a lot of new characters coming into this Tournament of Power, and what I want to do here is I want to begin a little series of videos here on the channel discussing these new characters, the ideas behind the characters, and the information that we know thus far. Now, with this series, there's not going to be a set schedule about when I'm going to actually upload them. I'll just do them periodically depending on when we get information and what happens in the episodes, so that it is enough to actually warrant making a video that I find at least somewhat interesting about these characters. And if the videos do well and are well received, I will continue to make them because this is probably going to be a lot of fun for me. So, the first person I want to talk about is a character that got a lot of spotlight in Dragon Ball Super Episode 97 from Universe 10, the Magician of the Ring Verge. Let's talk about the Sumo Napapa. Hey guys, if you want to hear my deconstructions and breakdowns of other things that I love like movies, TV, wrestling, and life, then be sure to check out my brand new channel, World of Geekdom. I will leave a link down below. Now, with episode 97, Napapa squared off against Basil for the majority of the episode, and they had a really fun little exchange there. And with Napapa, even before you even see him fight Basil, if you're familiar with Oriental martial arts or with big-time sports of the East, you know this character is obviously based on a sumo wrestler. In my review for episode 97, I called him E Honda, and E Honda is also based on a sumo wrestler. And the series really makes no bones about telling us point blank that he is a tribute to sumo. Not only does he say doskoi, which is something that sumo wrestlers have said for many, many years, but also the series refers to him as a yokozuna. Now, in the official subtitles that were used by Daisuke and Crunchyroll and Verve and other companies like that, they refer to him as Yokoduna, but that is a mistake. Obviously, to a lot of us, and if you don't know this, now you're about to find out, the Crunchyroll / Daisuke subtitles are not 100% accurate, especially when it comes to the names. They often switch between Japanese and dub terms. They often name people incorrectly. It's just something that you have to get used to, and until we have the official Steve Simmons translated Funimation subtitles, which will be featured on the Dragon Ball Super Blu-rays, we're not going to have better subs than that. So just understand that it's not Yokoduna, it is Yokozuna. Now, Yokozuna, if you're a longtime WWF fan, you know that he was the WWF champion from 1993 to 1994, in wrestling. But that character, first of all, his real name was Rodney Anoa'i. He's related to The Rock, and he was a Samoan, not a Japanese man. But the character he was portraying, Yokozuna, was again a tribute to the sumo wrestler. Because in Japan, Yokozuna is the Grand Champion. That's the title you get when you are the champion of the sumo wrestlers. Now, a sumo wrestler is just called Rikishi. And again, if you're a WWF fan, you remember Rikishi, another relative of The Rock, who was very, very close to Yokozuna the wrestler. They're all one big Samoan family, but they're both tributes to sumo wrestlers. Now, in Japan, sumo is a massive, massive sport, a professional martial arts where two large men compete inside of a ring called a dohyo. And ironically enough, when it comes to this character in Dragon Ball, he is called the Dohyogiwa no Majutsushi, which stands for Magician of the Ring Verge. So they're even referring to the fact that it's a circular ring for this guy. And ironically enough, in the Tournament of Power, it's a circular ring. Sumo wrestling has been culturally impactful in Japan for many, 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 many years, and it's pretty interesting how this character, Napapa, in Dragon Ball Super, is perfectly fit to compete in this tournament with this circular ring where you have to push your opponent out, because in sumo, that's how you win. You push your opponent out of the circular ring. Now, within the world of Dragon Ball, we don't know for certain if this guy is a sumo wrestler, but it's implied that Universe 10 has some kind of sumo wrestling because they call it Dohyo Doru, which is, again, a Dragon Ball pun on it. So with sumo wrestlers, their strengths, which I think will apply to Napapa, is that they have a very good central base. They're very hard to eliminate and to throw out because they have an incredible balance with their body. And what I find interesting, and this will apply to Napapa, is that a lot of people who are very close-minded will look at these guys and say, oh, they're a bunch of fat guys, they're slow, they should be easy to beat, and nothing could be further from the truth on that one. Sumo guys will kick your ass. They're extremely fast, they have very fast hands, they're very agile despite their size, and they're literally almost impossible to take off their feet unless you have trained in the martial arts at a very high level. So if you see one of these guys scarfing down some hibachi, maybe by the pound, I would not screw with him. As far as Napapa goes, not only is he a sumo, but he also knows how to deflect ki blasts, and he seems to have a really, really good, very high level of stamina and defense. So even though a lot of us thought that the Universe 10 team was going to be a bunch of jabronis, turns out that this may be one of the few guys on that team who may be hard to beat. I can't wait to see him go face-to-face with Botamo and have the two big bellies collide in what should make the entire arena smell like bacon. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know in the comments. As we continue our study on the new fighters of the Tournament of Power, remember to subscribe and punch that bell so you get notified whenever I upload, because that way you'll know for certain whenever new videos drop. And I thank you as always for your support. Have a great one.